Today, we'd like to introduce you to our flagship product, CloudController. CloudController is a cloud automation engine or a workflow engine that allows you to build a cloud out of existing resources and then exploit it as automatically managed services. Let us explain how that works. First of all, InContinuum is an ISV, and our flagship product, CloudController, is a multi-cloud service automation product for building and exploiting clouds. How do you build a cloud? Of course, you've already built your virtualization environments and chosen your hyperscale public cloud resources of choice, and you build a cloud by registering these resources into CloudController. So you can see here that you would register, for example, vCenter servers from VMware, Microsoft Hyper-V SCVMM servers, OpenStack Nova endpoints, Amazon Web Services accounts, or Azure accounts, or IBM Bluemix SoftLayer accounts, or even, for example, a Docker Swarm. Register those resources into CloudController, and we talked with them over the native APIs. Second thing you do is you'll have to create a service catalog or multiple service catalogs based upon those resources for the service objects you want to offer to your customers in the cloud. Your customers can also be in a private cloud, different departments of your company or enterprise. In a B2B cloud, of course, they could be different companies or partners of your company if you're an MSP or a CSP. So the service objects that you can build into service catalogs might consist of virtual machines, server resource pools, containers, platforms, and shortly in the future in our product, application tiers or monolithic applications. Once you've done these first two steps, you make them available to supply chains in your product. Your supply chains are basically distribution channels that you set up for delivery of the service objects to the intended cloud user. Once these three steps have been completed, CloudController runs your cloud in a zero-touch mode. So what are some of the benefits of the CMP? Of course, because you're automating everything from building the cloud to the creation, deployment, and management of your service objects, you'll free up a lot of IT resources to do other things. So a lot of the mundane tasks that were done by IT ops people will now be done automatically. Secondly, if you want to increase the time to market for your services, once the cloud is set up, adding a new service catalog item template is a matter of a few minutes' work to deliver new services to your cloud or a subset of your cloud users. Scaling is obviously a very important part of managing a cloud, whether you're scaling by adding new cloud resources or scaling existing service objects like the VMs and platforms and containers that are already under management. The end result, of course, is going to be reduced cloud operations management costs as you're operating a cloud on a fully automated fashion for the creation, deployment, and post-deployment management of the service objects. So what kind of cloud can you build with CloudController? We offer you much flexibility to simultaneously in a single server instance of our product to manage all types of cloud that are currently available in the marketplace. You could build a private cloud from on-premise resources, a public B2B cloud, a hybrid cloud, which of course is a combination of public resources and private on-prem resources, or a multi-cloud environment that can consist of multiple resources on-prem and potentially multiple resources from hyperscale public clouds. Each supply chain or group of users in your cloud can be running a separate mode of cloud by the four that have been mentioned here already. And of course, we talk to these resources over the native API, so we're non-intrusive to existing management processes that you're already using to manage these resources. In other words, if CloudController, for whatever reason, will fall into disrepair, the services that are running are still running on the resources where they're located. You would, of course, at that moment just lose the ability to automatically manage and deploy them. Our product suite consists of a core product called CloudController Instance Server. CloudController Instance Server is the core of our cloud management platform, and it's used to run any other service that we are currently managing. We always like to say that unless you're talking about serverless computing, which is new in the cloud industry, everything at the end of the day runs on resources. Whether it's a VM, a container, or a platform, it's always running somewhere on a resource that's in your cloud infrastructure. So we manage that core piece with CloudController Instance Server. We also offer currently a bolt-on product to CCIS called the Platform Builder, which allows you to package and build customized Linux server distributions that are ready for DevOps. We say ready because we will have a DevOps interface on CloudController in the second half of 2017 that will offer much more automation and orchestration capabilities. These two products in our cloud management portfolio are currently available and are shipping since a long time. The cloud market, as you know, is a market in evolution, and we are evolving along with it. We will have a container service running before the end of calendar year 2017 based upon Docker Swarm or Docker Engine. And next to that, an application marketplace that will allow you to build a service catalog of monolithic applications or multi-tier applications and deploy them to a container, platform, or VM that's managed by CloudController. What's been integrated to CloudController? Well, we support several resources, whether they're on-premise or multi-cloud based, such as the hyperscale resources from Microsoft, Amazon, and IBM. We also support the Hewlett-Packard Enterprise OneView Synergy APIs and OpenStack APIs, as you can see here, which allows us to do automated provisioning and support of EOS, CAS, and PAS on all major hypervisors and most of the major public cloud services. Bare metal is possible from our OneView Synergy interface, as we are a member of the Hewlett-Packard Enterprise OneView Composable Infrastructure ecosystem. What separates CloudController from some of the other CMP products on the market? It's a single workflow engine. Whether you're doing the virtualization and technology management things located on the left side of this slide in gray, or the business process and financial things that are related to managing a cloud, shown here in blue, these are all in the workflow engine and allow you to have one continuous process for managing all the business process aspects of a cloud, along with the technology and infrastructure related parts of managing a cloud. It's one workflow engine. You don't need several products to manage a cloud with all of these features. It's one product, one workflow engine that manages a cloud in a continuous way. InContinuum is also a strategic alliance partner of Microsoft. We are a technical alliance partner of Microsoft and a member of the Enterprise Cloud ecosystem. I believe they call it the Enterprise Cloud Alliance, actually. So we're fully compatible with Microsoft technologies like SCVMM, Hyper-V, the Azure Public Cloud Service. But we've also written an extension to Windows Azure Pack that allows us to manage a multi-cloud environment from within the confines of the Azure Pack portal. CloudController will appear as a tab in the Windows Azure Pack portal, allowing cloud service users to create, deploy, and manage infrastructure, container, and platform as a service from anything that's running in the associated CloudController environment. We have a Windows Azure Pack extension that's installed on the System Center client that is running Windows Azure Pack, and this automates the entire process. Looking to the very near future, we also are nearly complete with a Azure Stack implementation that will allow Azure Stack environments to be taken into a multi-cloud management through the Azure Stack portal, just like we can already do with Windows Azure Pack. So fully Azure Stack compatible, Microsoft Windows Azure Pack compatible, Azure Public Cloud compatible, and Hyper-V SCVMM compatible. This means a lot for Azure and Microsoft users in general, and gives us very interesting ways to work together with you if you're a Microsoft partner or a Microsoft CSP. One of the most unique features of CloudController is our supply chain manager, or our distribution channel manager. This is based upon a 6-layer, multi-tier, multi-tenant, role-based user and account hierarchy. There are 6 predefined account levels in CloudController, and each of them can be independent of each other for the management, monitoring, control of services and users that are underneath them. The 6-layer model is used to build a 1-tier, 2-tier, or 3-tier distribution channel within your cloud for managing the distribution and deployment of cloud service objects like the VMs, platforms, containers, and so forth. Each of the account levels can have unlimited user logins, which are configurable with role-based access control, and it can even be customized in the type of access roles that are created and languages that are used. We currently support 9 languages. In a B2B cloud, these 6 layers might be independent companies who can each have their own Active Directory group mapped to their account for single sign-on and authentication. And of course, there's customization possible in terms of reporting, data flow, and control from parent to child accounts in this structure. For a non-B2B cloud, these 3 management layers might be called other things. They might be a business unit of a multinational company, or a geographical separation of a company. For example, the UK operations of a multinational or the US operations of a multinational. You have much granular flexibility in how this is set up. The 3 top accounts we call management users. Independent of each other, they can create and publish a unique service catalog of any service objects that CloudController is managing. And they can be customized in many financial aspects, business process aspects, and technology aspects. They can also be white labeled, so their own URL, graphic look and feel, and even their own SSL certificate can be used for authentication and single sign-on. The 3 service user accounts, of course, can, independent of each other, avail over a unique service catalog of service objects that's been made available to them by their parent in the 1-tier, 2-tier, or 3-tier supply chain that they reside in. And very key, they can configure, order, create, deploy, and manage their own cloud-based managed services with no intervention from a management user in an IT ops department, whether it's a service provider or a private enterprise managing a private cloud. So how can you apply this to a real situation? We give you a high level of service catalog granularity and distribution of service with this model. It can be expanded horizontally as broad as you want to. So the 6-layer multi-tier model can be set up, for example, with a 2-tier supply chain, where in a B2B cloud, these would be separate companies doing multi-tier distribution of service objects with multiple levels of billing, invoicing, and payment collection. In a private cloud, of course, there'll be multiple levels of chargeback and showback. By creating a distributor account first and then creating own resellers and service users, you can create a 3-tier supply chain, which will, of course, do 3 levels of invoicing and payment collection in a B2B cloud, or 3 levels of chargeback and showback in a private cloud running on-premise. You can have a separate service catalog per service supply chain, whether it's a 2-tier reseller-based supply chain or a 3-tier distributor-based supply chain. So that the service objects can be completely different for the purple users versus the mauve-colored users in the distributor supply chain. Of course, you can also have a separate service catalog of service objects for a subset of a supply chain, whether it's based upon a consumer account or a department account, as shown here in the various colored boxes. And I think you see where this is going. You could even have a unique service catalog per single service user. So every consumer level account, department level account, and group account can have its own service catalog completely independent of each other, which may be pre-configured, for example, with their own licensing key information or unique IP pool information or various virtual network functionality and so forth. You have a very high level of service granularity by using this model. Our interface, of course, is a modern interface that looks somewhat like this. And it's used to manage a multi-cloud environment. Our own application is itself a multi-tier application if you so desire. You could put the portal services on a separate VM or physical server in the DMZ, and the application and database services on separate virtual machines or physical servers behind the firewall. In terms of implementation, if you want to build these server environments yourself, a Microsoft certified engineer can do such an installation in less than 4 hours, including building the host servers that are required. And they're guided by a wizard-based installation procedure that step-by-step shows how this is done. Typical setup and configuration in a mid to large size cloud environment is anywhere from 3 to 5 days. The installation is done in less than half a day typically, but then setting up the supply chains and the service catalogs does take some professional services, and we typically do that in 3 to 5 days. Larger environments, of course, depending upon the size of the legacy environment that exists, can take several more days. We do also have an AMI available on Amazon Web Services that can be downloaded from Amazon, and by purchasing the licensing key from us, you theoretically could do the installation in less than 15 minutes or so. So it is possible to do it quicker if you're going to build everything on a single server instance in our application. That said, I'd like to now jump into the product and show you how to build a cloud from existing resources, and then show you how it can be utilized by a service user in a supply chain that we've set up for purposes of the demo. I hope this presentation has been useful for you, and look forward to showing you the demo.